My child, listen with all your attention, because today I declare something decisive. I myself come down to intervene in what seemed impossible, and your cause, which many already judged lost, I turn into victory before your eyes. It is not a distant announcement nor a vague hope. It is an order that now goes forth from my throne. This problem that consumes you, that wears down your strength and drains your hope, will be resolved by my power. You are not alone. You do not walk by chance, nor do you live unnoticed. Every detail of your struggle is before me, and every tear shed has become a memorial on my altar. Here, because this is the moment when I break invisible chains, tear down walls raised against you, and inaugurate a new season for your life. I know the nights when you lay down without peace, the days when you carried the weight of worries that no one could relieve. I know the emptiness that tried to settle in your soul, the exhaustion that stole your courage, and the feeling that the heavens were closed to you. But I tell you, there was not a single instant when my gaze turned away. I was there even when you believed yourself forgotten. You were not abandoned, you were prepared. What seemed like silence was my invisible work, aligning paths, moving pieces, and protecting you from traps you did not see. Awaken now, because I am not speaking of something symbolic or distant. I speak of a concrete turning, of a palpable change that begins now. Your heart needs to be attentive, because the answer that many considered unlikely I have already released in your favor. It is not a vague promise. It is a decree established at my eternal throne. The situation that insisted on rising as a mountain before you begins to dissolve, because I command, and when I command, nothing can resist. Just as the Red Sea opened before my people, so your impossibility gives way to the path I prepare. Where there was blockage, now there will be passage. Where there was darkness, now my light shines. Do not let yourself be deceived by the voices that try to convince you that nothing will change. The enemy tried to sow in your mind thoughts of giving up, trying to persuade you that you are too small, too weak, or unworthy of receiving my favor. But listen to my voice. You are loved, you are chosen, you are guarded. I do not withdraw my hand from those whom I have sealed with purpose, and you were marked from the womb to fulfill what I have already written over you. The oppression that tried to silence you loses strength, because my voice echoes over your life with authority greater than all other voices. I come today not only to comfort, but to awaken. I want you to perceive the urgency of the time in which you live. This is not a moment for distraction nor for turning back. This is the time to open your spiritual ears and see that there is a powerful movement happening around you. There are angels moving on your behalf. There are walls falling before your cry, and there is a decree of victory being established over you. Everything the enemy prepared to make you stumble will be reversed as a sign of my faithfulness. Every hidden plan against you will be exposed and annulled, because I myself step in as your defender. You asked only for relief, but I give you more. I give you deliverance. You asked only for a way out, but I hand you a new path. You asked only for strength to endure, but I pour over you an anointing of overcoming that will not only make you resist, but advance with authority. Do not underestimate what I am doing in this instant. Now, chains are already being broken, spiritual environments are being transformed, and the peace that surpasses all understanding begins to occupy the spaces that were once taken by anxiety. Believe this, I have not lost control of your story. What seemed like chaos is under my order. What looked like defeat is only a setting to manifest my glory. I did not allow you to be destroyed, because there is still much to be fulfilled in you and through you. Therefore, do not fear tomorrow. Your future is not in the hands of men, nor does it depend on circumstances. Your future is secure in me, and I am the one who does not fail, who does not change, who does not lie. Receive this call as urgent, because it is not time to postpone the decision to trust fully. It is time to open your heart without reservations, to cast upon me all the weight you carry. I do not ask you to solve it alone. I invite you to rest in my strong arm. Because when you release the control that so angers you, I enter with irresistible power. Your weakness is the place where my strength is manifested. Your inability is the ground where I cause the impossible to be born. Today I declare the pain that seemed endless will be transformed into testimony. The shame the enemy tried to stick to your life will be replaced by honor before many. The loss that seemed irreparable will be reversed into abundant restitution. I am God who changes stories, who transforms settings, who resurrects what was dead. You will still see with your own eyes that I am faithful and that nothing you entrusted to me was in vain. Therefore, rise with confidence. Lift up your head, because I breathe fresh courage over you. You will no longer walk bent under the weight of worries, but lifted by the certainty of my presence. Be strong and bold, because I walk with you. The door that was closed before you begins to open. And when I open, no one can close. Your life enters a new time, marked not by fear, but by the living hope that comes from me. And soon you will say with your own mouth, "It was the Lord who did this, and it is marvelous in my eyes." My child, do not be deceived into thinking that the weight that has fallen on you in these recent times was merely chance or the result of life's difficulties. There is an invisible war taking place around you, and every sense of oppression, every unexpected attack, every arrow launched against your peace is a sign that the enemy has perceived how near your victory is. He does not waste strength against those who carry nothing of value. He intensifies his fury precisely against those who have been marked with an eternal purpose. You are one of them, and that is why you felt the pressures multiply. But do not fear, for I have not left you vulnerable. I myself have sent Michael, the Prince of Battles, with sword drawn to guard the path I set before you. I know that in many moments you believed you were fighting against people, circumstances, or your own luck. But listen, your struggle is not against flesh and blood. It is against spiritual forces that want to steal your hope, paralyze your destiny, and extinguish the light I placed in you. Do not confuse the instruments with the source. The enemy works behind the scenes, sowing thoughts, creating situations, raising distractions to pull you away from the center of my will. He works with subtlety, seeking to open small breaches that become great walls. But today, I come to open your eyes and show you that you are more guarded than you imagine. While he plots in the shadows, angels walk on your behalf, undoing snares, breaking chains, and raising walls of fire around you. I awaken you. Do not fear. The enemy tried to take advantage of your weariness, your doubts, and your open wounds. He believed he would find you fragile enough to give up, but he forgot that you are loved by me and upheld by my hand. While he thought he was winning, I was already preparing invisible deliverances. There were traps you did not see because I sent angels to destroy them before they reached you. There were accusations that did not reach your ears because I silenced voices that would rise against you. There were attacks prepared in the darkness that did not prosper because I myself raised my banner of victory over your life. Do not ignore the signs of war, but do not give yourself over to fear either. Recognize that there is a battle, but remember that you never fight alone. Every time you cried out in silence, I moved armies on your behalf. With every tear shed, I sent immediate help. While you thought you were merely enduring, I was training your spirit to resist and your faith to remain unshaken. For the enemy does not only seek to wound you, he seeks to wear out your hope, undermine your confidence, and steal your vision. But I declare, hope will not be uprooted, confidence will not be destroyed, and the vision I gave you will not be erased. Even if he tried to muffle your voice, I myself strengthen it so that you continue proclaiming victory. Remember, the intensity of the attacks is proof of the greatness of what is about to be manifested. No one throws stones at fruitless trees. The enemy has pursued your life because there are fruits ready to be harvested, doors about to open, promises already ripe to be fulfilled. He tries to intimidate you, but I declare that he will have no power to stop what I have already decreed. What goes out from my mouth does not return empty, and your story is already written with victory. Therefore, do not stop before the pressures, because every blow they tried against you will become testimony of my faithfulness. I invite you to look beyond the visible. Do not evaluate your life only by what your natural eyes behold. Learn to discern spiritual movements, because victory is established first in the invisible before appearing in the visible. When the enemy thought to end your journey, I had already decreed a new beginning. When he believed your dreams would die, I had already prepared resurrection. When he imagined your voice would be silenced, I was already sharpening your tongue to proclaim even louder. He does not understand that everything he attempts against you becomes raw material to manifest my power. Remain firm. Do not underestimate the war, but do not overestimate the enemy either. He is limited, while I am infinite. He is a creature, while I am the creator. He needs hidden strategies, but I govern all things with sovereignty. He tries in every way to paralyze you, but I lift you up with authority and give you endurance that is not yours, but comes from me. Michael's sword shines before you, and every step you take will be under protection. The heavens are in motion, and you are guarded by my army. No weapon forged against you will prosper, because I myself am your shield and your fortress. Therefore, do not fear the noise of battle. Do not be intimidated by the violence of the winds. Do not think you are lost when the pressures increase. It is exactly when the combat becomes more intense that victory is closest. You are on the field, but I am your general, and no strategy against you will succeed. The war is real, but even more real is my presence with you. Walk in peace, for I have already determined the end of this fight, and the end is victory. My child, I saw every tear that ran down your face when no one else was near to wipe it. I heard the groans you yourself tried to hush, believing no one would notice them. I knew the long nights when sleep did not come, and your mind wandered in questions without answers. None of this went unnoticed before me. Even the silence that seemed empty became prayer before my throne, and every beat of your wounded heart reached my ears as a true cry that I never ignored. I was with you when you believed you were alone. I saw you trying to smile on the outside, while inside the pain crushed you. I watched you carry the weight you did not want to share with anyone, so as not to burden those you love. But there was not a moment when my eyes turned away from you. I was there, in the dark room, in the silent dawn, in the hour when your tired body could find no rest. I was present, and even if you did not feel it, every sigh of yours was recorded in my heart as proof of your endurance and of your faith that refused to die. Do not despise your tears, for they were not a sign of weakness, but of surrender. Every drop that fell from your eyes was like seed watering the soil of the promise I prepared for you. The tears the world ignored were gathered by me and kept like precious perfume on my altar. They were not signs of defeat. They were signs that your heart still seeks me, even in the midst of pain. And that is why I come to remind you today. None of your pain was useless. No sleepless night was wasted. No muffled cry was lost into the void. I saw everything. I felt with you. I remained at your side. I know the times when you asked yourself if I was truly listening. I know the doubts that crossed your mind when you did not see immediate answers. I know when you wondered if I had forgotten you. But hear this, I do not forget those who are mine. You are engraved on the palm of my hand, and there is no distance or silence that can erase that mark. When you believed your cry echoed in vain, it was actually rising to me like incense. While you wept, I was already moving the heavens to align your answer. While you sighed, I was already preparing the comfort that would come at the right time. I tell you, nothing you suffered was invisible to me. Not the thoughts you hid from everyone, nor the fears you kept in secret, nor the wounds no one noticed. I saw the moments when you looked to the future and could not see a way out. I saw when your bent shoulders could no longer carry the weight. I saw when your hope seemed to slip like sand through your fingers, but it is precisely there that I come in, when you no longer have strength to sustain yourself. For my perfection is manifested in your weakness, and my strength is revealed when you admit that by yourself you cannot. I never asked you to carry everything in silence. I never expected you to be strong all the time. I called you to rest in me, to place upon my shoulders what weighs you down. But I know that your heart often tried to be resilient, even when it was in pieces. I honor your courage. I honor your perseverance. But now, I invite you to trust completely. You do not need to hide your pains from me, because I already know each one of them. You do not need to disguise your weakness, because in it, I find space to pour out my grace. Remember, every dark night you faced was witnessed by me. I stood beside your bed. I saw you turning from side to side, unable to fall asleep. I saw your tired body and your troubled soul. And I did not remain indifferent. While you wrestled with your thoughts, I commanded the heavens to prepare refreshment. While your mind was confused, I guarded your spirit so that it would not faint. While you believed you were alone, I sustained you invisibly so that you would not succumb to the weight of anguish. Do not think your groans were weak or useless. Even the most muffled sounds of your pain were instruments of prayer. What you called silence, I called spiritual language. For even when you did not know what to say, your heart spoke for you. And I understood every quickened beat, every heavy sigh, every wordless tear. I am God who translates your pain into intercession, who gathers your silences as hidden songs, who transforms your weeping into a prophecy of hope. I know you deeply. I know each wound you carry. I know each loss that marked your story. I know the dreams that seemed undone. No part of you is hidden before me. And it is exactly because I know you so intimately that today I tell you, you were not forgotten, you were not abandoned, you are not condemned to loneliness. I saw everything, I heard everything, I felt with you, and now I declare that this time of pain will be turned into testimony. The one who cried in secret will be lifted up in public. The one who believed to be forgotten will be honored before many. The one who endured in silence will be crowned with victory. My child, lift your eyes and trust. Do not allow the pain you felt to become a prison. It was only process, not destiny. You were not made to live forever in tears, but to taste the comfort that only I can give. Today I say, your pain will not be remembered as a sign of defeat, but as a mark of overcoming. What was a groan will turn into a song. What was silence will become testimony. And what was a tear will be converted into a seed of joy. For I am God who sees, who hears, who knows, and who turns all pain into victory. My child, be attentive to my voice, because what I have prepared for you goes beyond what your natural eyes can imagine. I do not offer you only walls and a roof to shelter your body, but I establish a home where your soul will find rest and your spirit will be strengthened in my presence. This house is a place of refuge. It is eternal inheritance, and it is the space where your purpose will be fully fulfilled. I'm not speaking of something fragile or temporary, but of something established from before the foundation of the world. It is already written in heaven that I will give you a secure place, not only physical, but spiritual, where your heart will rest in peace and your identity will be affirmed in me. I myself am the architect of this dwelling. I design every detail according to my love for you. There will be no room there for the condemnation that they tried to throw upon your life. There will be no echoes of the voices that diminished you, because it will be a place full of my voice, which declares who you are and what destiny I have already established for you. This house is not only yours, it is inheritance for your generation, because what I plant in you today will be fruit for those who will come after you. The enemy wanted to steal your sense of belonging, wanted to make you believe that you had no safe place. But today I declare there is a space reserved, sealed by my promise, where no one will be able to touch. The enemy knows well the value of this promise, and that is why he tried so many times to make you believe that you were rejected, that you had no roots, that your future would be unstable. But I am your Father, and I do not withdraw what I have prepared for my children. I'm the one who lays solid foundations, who builds upon the rock, and your life will be raised in such a way that neither storms nor winds nor accusations can overthrow it. I myself guard the door of this inheritance. It will not be opened by fear or by anxiety, but by faith and by obedience. Every step of trust that you take will be a key that fits into the lock of the destiny I have drawn for you. The house I promise you is a place of encounter and communion. There you will not be isolated, but surrounded by those whom I myself will send to walk with you. It will be an environment of restoration, where old wounds will heal and where the weight of the past will no longer have dominion. In this dwelling, your mind will be made clear, your heart warmed, and your faith renewed. There, the emptiness will give place to fullness, and weariness will be exchanged for true rest. It is not only a physical space, but an environment where my glory will be manifested constantly. Where there was fear, there will be safety. Where there were tears, there will be joy. I know that your eyes have already seen many closed doors. I know of the frustrated attempts, the interrupted dreams, the beginnings that never reach the end. But I declare that in this promise, there will be no frustration. When I open a door, no one can shut it. When I establish a way, no one can divert it. You will no longer live as a stranger wandering without direction, because I have already determined your place of rest. The insecurities that pursued you will have no power over you, because your dwelling is protected by my own hand. Keep this in your heart. You have inheritance. The enemy wanted to convince you that you would inherit nothing, that you would die in the desert without reaching the promised land. But I say, your inheritance is not lost. Just as I led my people through the sea and the desert to the land that I promised them, so also will I lead you to the fulfillment of all that I have established for you. I will not allow your inheritance to be disfigured, diminished, or stolen. It will be complete, abundant, and it will reveal my faithfulness from generation to generation. And remember, this promise does not depend only on external circumstances, but on your willingness to trust and obey. When you take steps of faith, even small ones, I will open wide horizons before you. When you choose to hear me above the contrary voices, you will see the path grow clear. When you surrender entirely, you will understand that your inheritance is not only place, but also purpose. I did not call you only to dwell, but to govern spiritually, to be light amid darkness, to be a living testimony of my presence. The inheritance I prepared is not the fruit of luck or chance, but the fruit of my love and my covenant with you. I am faithful to fulfill what I promised. Do not look at the size of the barriers, because I have already determined your entrance. Do not fear the enemies that rise up, because greater is the one who is with you. Remain firm, because what awaits you is greater than all that you have already lost. And when you enter this promise, you will understand that every tear, every dark night, and every waiting was worth it. For I am God who turns loneliness into family, scarcity into abundance, and desert into fertile land. Trust, because the door is already guarded. Your inheritance is already prepared, and the home that I promised will be an eternal sign of my faithfulness. My child, today I declare with authority, chains that no one could see are being broken. Accusations launched against you are being silenced, and decrees of failure that weighed upon your story are being nullified by my power. The weight that suffocated you begins to dissolve, because the spirit of oppression no longer has a place in you. I do not come only to comfort you, but to set you free in a real and definitive way, so that you may walk free, steady, and confident in my will. You did not perceive it, but there were invisible prisons that tried to stop you. They were like shackles around your mind, voices of condemnation, memories of old guilt, words that others hurled against you, and that became chains that kept you from advancing. But today I say, these bonds do not withstand the fire of my presence. I cast down every accusation that tried to rise against you, because my sentence is higher than any contrary voice. The enemy accused you day and night, but I have already silenced his lips before my throne. Many times you carried burdens that were not yours. You took on weights that did not belong to you, believing lies that did not come from me. I saw how your heart was wounded by words that became chains, by broken promises that became padlocks, by rejections that turned into walls. But today I declare, none of this will remain. I am the one who opens doors that no one can close, and who sets captives free without leaving even a trace of a shackle. I do not permit you to continue a prisoner of the past, because your future is kept in me. I know every accusation that was hurled against you. I know the judgments they made, the unjust criticisms, the looks that diminished you. I know that some of these wounds went deep, becoming chains within you. But today I enter those hidden places, the corners of your soul where stains of pain still remained, and I cut those ties with my sword. Nothing that was spoken against you will have power to define who you are. I have already defined you. I have already chosen you. I have already established you. You are not what they said. You are what I declared from the beginning. Listen, the decree of failure that hovered over your life has been cancelled. The enemy wanted you to believe that you were destined to fall, that you would never achieve anything beyond struggle. He tried to write your story with ink of defeat, but I tore that scroll and wrote a new chapter with my own blood. What was once a sentence of loss is now a promise of restitution. What was once a seal of shame is now a sign of honor. You were not created to live in chains, but to walk in freedom. The weight that oppressed your chest, that kept you from breathing in peace, no longer has authority over you. I remove the pressure that suffocated your thoughts, that stole your sleep, and that undermined your joy. That shadow that followed you is being dispelled by the light of my glory. Where there was darkness, there is now clarity. Where there was oppression, there is now peace. Where there was torment, there is now rest. I not only lift the weight, but I also place within you a lightness that comes from my spirit. Understand this. This deliverance is not merely a moment of relief. It is a permanent change. I do not speak of a passing sensation, but of definitive transformation. I undo ancient pacts, spiritual breaks that hindered your progress, bonds that came from past generations. All of this is broken now in my name. You are free to live as a beloved child, not as a slave to fears or guilt. You will walk in freedom without looking back in fear that the chains will return. What I break, no one can restore against you. You will feel the difference within you. The voice of accusation will lose its echo. The memory of pain will no longer have strength to imprison you. The discouragement that once pulled you down will be replaced by renewed courage. And it will not be only a comfort to your heart, but a concrete reality. Your mind will be free, your steps firm, your life aligned with my purpose. For I do not set you free merely to relieve you. I set you free to send you, to equip you, to raise you up. Hold to this truth. I am your deliverance. There is no prison so deep that my hand cannot reach it. There is no chain so thick that my strength cannot break it. There is no accusation so heavy that my forgiveness cannot annul it. Today, your life enters a new time because I myself have declared your freedom. And when I declare, no power can resist, Walk confidently, for you are no longer a hostage of the past, but an heir to a future that I have already prepared for you. And when those who watch you ask how you managed to break what bound you for so long, your answer will be clear. It was the Lord who intervened. It was the Lord who delivered. It was the Lord who transformed. And your testimony will be a sign that nothing, absolutely nothing, can resist the power of my outstretched hand. My child, after clearing the chains that imprisoned you and silencing the voices that tried to condemn you, now I open the treasures of heaven and pour upon you the abundance of my Spirit. Where there was scarcity, I placed provision in every area of your life. Where confusion reigned and made you walk without direction, I establish clarity so that your eyes may see the right path. Where there was the emptiness that consumed your strength, I pour fullness until you overflow. The table that seemed deserted is now covered with food, and your heart, which walked weary and downcast, becomes an altar filled with my presence, radiating peace that no one can steal. I am God who prepares a table before you even when there are enemies around. What once seemed lack will become abundance. What was a place of shame will be transformed into a place of honor. It is not only material provision that I give you, but also the spiritual nourishment that sustains your soul and strengthens your spirit. I am the bread that comes down from heaven. I am the living water that satisfies forever. I am the inexhaustible fountain that never runs dry. What you did not find in people, I myself place in your hands with generosity. Do not fear the word scarcity, because it does not define your story. I am your source. I am your provider. I am the one who opens the windows of heaven and makes rain come upon you with what you need. When you thought there was no way out, provision was already on the way. When you believed there was no solution, I was already preparing answers. Nothing in me is limited and nothing in me is lacking. The one who feeds the birds of the sky and clothes the lilies of the field with splendor is the same who cares for you with even greater zeal. I know that your heart has already worried about tomorrow, fearing not having enough to sustain you, but today I declare you will no longer live under the weight of anxiety, because I have already placed in your hands that which you need. The abundance I pour out is not only to supply your need, but so that you may carry in yourself the testimony of my faithfulness. You will experience the overflow, because when I give, I do not give halfway, I give in fullness. The cup that was empty now fills until it runs over. I also come to restore your mind and your heart. The confusion that made you lose time and energy will be replaced by clarity. The thoughts that left you divided will be organized by the light of my wisdom. The doubts that tried to paralyze you will be dispelled, and you will understand with sharpness that which previously seemed blurred. My Spirit is a faithful counselor, and he whispers in your innermost being the right direction. You will no longer walk blindly. You will not make decisions without guidance, because my voice will be a lamp to your feet and a light to your path. And as for the emptiness that so often consumed you, I say, it will have no more place in you. That which you tried to fill with passing things, and that always left you even more empty, will now be occupied by my presence. I pour into you a fullness that does not depend on circumstances, but that springs from my Spirit. The space that was once shadow will now be filled with light. The corner of the heart that was deserted will now be a garden watered by my grace. The altar that seemed extinguished will now burn with fire that never goes out. Guard within you this peace that I give you. It is not like the peace of the world, which depends on external stability. It is peace that comes from within, that is established in me, that remains even when everything around seems unstable. This peace is a shield against fear. It is shelter against anxiety. It is rest for your tired mind. I breathe upon you serenity that nothing can steal. Neither contrary words, nor adverse circumstances, nor attacks of the enemy will have power to shake what I have established within you. This provision and this peace are not only for you, but also so that you may be a channel for others. What I place in your hands will overflow and reach those around you. The bread you receive will multiply. The water you drink will become a fountain that springs up to eternal life. You will not only experience my abundance, but you will also be a living testimony of it. Others will look at you and see that where there was scarcity, there is now abundance. That where there was emptiness, there is now fullness. That where there was torment, there is now peace. My child, remember, I am God who turns deserts into springs and dry lands into mighty rivers. So I will do in your life. What seemed barren will bear fruit. What seemed dead will come to life again. What seemed lost will be restored twofold. Because when I enter, nothing remains the same. I am the one who multiplies the little, who brings order to chaos, who fills the empty places, and who covers afflicted hearts with peace. Therefore rest in me. Do not look any longer at the areas where you believed nothing could flourish, because I am already pouring upon them the rain of my presence. What was scarce will become abundant. What was confusing will become clear. What was empty will become full. And all this will not be temporary, but a permanent mark of my faithfulness upon your life. My child, do not give up now, because it is precisely in the final moments that the attacks intensify. The enemy knows you are one step away from seeing the promise fulfilled, and for that reason he throws his hardest blows against you. But I tell you, remain firm, because what seemed unbearable is a sign that the harvest is at the door. Just as a woman feels the sharpest pain right before giving birth, you also go through spiritual contractions that announce the birth of the new time I have prepared for you. This is the last casting of the net, the hour to resist to the end, because victory is already before you, and I will not allow you to retreat. I know you thought about giving up. I know your arms grew tired, your heart weakened, and your mind filled with doubts. I know how many times you asked if it was truly worth continuing to fight. But listen, every step you have taken until now was not in vain. Every prayer, every tear, every moment of resistance was recorded in heaven. I was with you in all of them, strengthening you even when you did not perceive it. Today I come to tell you, do not stop. Do not hand over your victory on the eve. What I have prepared for you is closer than you imagine. I never said the path would be easy. I said I would be with you until the end. And now, precisely at the moment when it seems hardest, I sustain you with my mighty hand. The enemy knows he cannot stop what I have already decreed. So he tries to tire you, to undermine your faith, to steal your hope. But I have already given you authority to resist. He cannot cross the limits I myself established. He shouts loudly, but it is only noise. He tries to intimidate, but he has no power to prevent. You are stronger than you think, because your strength does not come from you, it comes from me. Just as a seed must break the ground to bloom, your life also goes through the moment of greatest pressure to manifest the fruit. The pains you feel are not signs of an end, but signs of a beginning. It is the transition from what was to what will be. It is the passage from desert to fertile land. It is the transformation of tears into a smile, of weight into relief, of night into morning. Therefore, do not confuse this time of pain with defeat. This is the moment that precedes the greatest victory you have ever experienced. The net cast so many times without result will now return full. The fishing that seemed useless will become abundant. What looked like wasted effort will turn into a testimony of multiplication. Do not let the frustration of past attempts keep you from casting once more. For I say, this is the last casting, and it will be the one that brings the harvest. This is the moment not to drop the net, not to release the promise, not to abandon the field. I am the Lord of the harvest, and I have already decreed that it will come. I know the waiting has worn you down, but remember, Perseverance is the bridge between promise and fulfillment. Without it, many give up before seeing the reward. But you were not called to quit. You were chosen to conquer. I have already placed in you the endurance you need. I have already deposited in your heart the faith that bears the weight of final pressures, and I will not leave you alone. I will be with you at every step until you see with your own eyes what I have declared. Do not look at the size of the pain. Look at the size of the promise. Do not cling to the voices that tell you to stop. Hear my voice that says, continue. Do not analyze only what your eyes see. Trust in what I have already prepared. For many times the miracle is born in silence, hidden, and only later appears in fullness. So it is with you. Even now, when you think nothing is changing, there is movement happening in the invisible. Do not retreat. If you give up now, you will not taste the fruit that is already ripe. Hold on a little longer, resist a moment more, because I have already put an end to the struggle and have already declared victory over you. Just as the sun breaks the darkness of dawn at the darkest moment of the night, your victory also rises when it seems there is no way out. Trust, for I am faithful. I tell you, your harvest is before you. The promise was not lost. The miracle was not cancelled. The answer was not forgotten. Everything is ready, and soon your lips will sing. It was worth staying. It was worth resisting. It was worth trusting. For the Lord fulfilled what he promised, and not a single word of his fell to the ground. Everything you lived through was not just a series of isolated battles, but part of a process that I myself allowed in order to shape in you a story that will not remain silent. Every tear, every renunciation, every pain hidden in the deepest part of your heart was transformed into material for a testimony that will reach many. You believed you were only surviving, but in truth you were being molded for something greater. I do not waste any experience. And even what seemed irreparable now becomes part of the scene of the victory I have prepared. The scars you carry are not signs of shame, but banners of survival. They do not speak of defeat, but reveal that despite everything, you remained standing. Each mark is proof that you were sustained by my hand. What men could interpret as failure, I transform into a medal of honor. The enemy tried to destroy you, but you resisted. And now each scar will become a doorway to speak of my care, of my faithfulness, and of my grace that sustained you when you thought you could not endure. The greatest miracle has already begun within you. It is not only about what you will see around you, but about what is already being restored inside you. I give back the peace that the world could not give. I renew the faith you thought you had lost. I restore the hope that seemed extinguished. This is the sign that victory has already begun, because true change is born first in the heart and then manifests in every area of life. Before you see external results, you are already experiencing the inner renewal that makes you believe again. Because you resisted the time of pain, now I give you new strength. Not only strength to survive, but to move forward with boldness. I place in your hands healing for the wounds that still bled. I restore what was taken, whether in affections, in opportunities, in dreams, or in dignity. And more than that, I give you clarity of purpose. You will no longer walk lost, because now you know who you are in me and where you are being led. You will not walk in circles, but straight toward the destiny I traced. What was hidden will become public. The silent processes you lived through in secret, I myself will bring to light as testimony. Many will look at your life and wonder how you managed to endure. They will not understand by logic, but you will say, it was the hand of the Lord. What seemed like your end will become proof that I am the God of new beginnings. Where there was once shame, there will now be honor. Where there was silence, there will be song. Where there was a fall, there will be restoration before all. I did not shape you to keep only your own victory. I shaped you to be a living testimony of my faithfulness. What you went through will not be only a personal memory, but a tool to reach others who today walk through the same valley where you have been. You will speak and they will believe, because they will see that you do not speak from theory, but from real experience. Your story will be like a lamp lit in the darkness, showing that I am able to transform any life in any situation. So do not hide your scars, because they do not diminish you. They make you living proof that my grace is greater than any pain. You are not defined by the wounds you received, but by the power that lifted you despite them. And each mark will be a testimony that will open doors, heal others, inspire those who are thinking of giving up. Because what survived in you is proof that nothing, absolutely nothing, could separate you from my love. I myself make your life an altar of miracles. The transformation that has already begun inside you will spread like waves that touch every area of your existence. The peace I now fill in you will accompany you in every decision. The renewed faith will make you dream again. The restored hope will make you walk with firm steps. And you will understand that everything you thought you had lost was only space prepared for something much greater. Your life will not be remembered for the pain you lived, but for the God who sustained you. Your name will not be associated with losses, but with the faithfulness that rescued you. Your future will not be a shadow of the past, but a reflection of my promise fulfilled. Because I am the God who writes complete stories, who turns processes into testimonies, and who makes pain a channel of healing. Receive this today. You are a living testimony of my faithfulness. You are proof that it is worth it to resist. You are a sign that I am the God who fulfills what I promise. And just as I lifted you up, I will lift many through you. What once seemed ruin will now be reconstruction. What seemed defeat will now be evident victory. And your story will be told as an eternal reminder that I am faithful in all things.